Hey everyone, welcome back to Starstruck TV. Today, we're doing a complete recap of The Apprentice, the new film that explores the early years of Donald Trump's career and life. A quick heads up before we dive in. This video will contain major spoilers for The Apprentice, so if you haven't seen the movie and want to experience the twists and surprises for yourself, you might want to pause here. But if you're ready to dive into the details, here's your recap. And if you're interested in our deeper commentary on the film, be sure to check out our reviews and breakdowns on the controversies around it. All right, let's get started. The beginnings, setting the stage in New York. The film opens with a young Donald Trump, portrayed as an ambitious, sharp-eyed real estate developer in New York City. Right from the start, we see Donald's determination to carve out his own path, away from his father Fred Trump's real estate empire, which had focused more on working-class rental properties in Brooklyn and Queens. But Donald has his sights set on Manhattan, something his father considers risky and unnecessary. These early scenes highlight Donald's desire to prove himself and build a name that goes beyond his father's reputation. Fred, played with an authoritative edge, warns Donald against making reckless choices, setting up the tension that will drive much of the plot. It's clear Donald wants to go big or go home, setting up the drive that will propel him through both triumphs and missteps. The mentor, enter Roy Cohn. As Donald begins his journey into Manhattan real estate, he meets Roy Cohn, a lawyer known for his aggressive tactics and cutthroat mentality. Played with an intense charisma, Cohn quickly becomes a mentor to Donald, teaching him strategies that are more ruthless than what he learned from his father. Roy's advice revolves around never backing down, fighting all accusations head-on, and pushing limits when it comes to business deals. This mentorship becomes a cornerstone of Donald's approach to business. We see how Cohn's influence shapes Donald's personality, not just in business, but in how he deals with people and his public persona. In fact, Roy's advice and unyielding style of litigation come in handy when Donald faces his first legal challenges in New York real estate, which we'll get into next. Early legal troubles, the housing discrimination suit. One of the major plot points centers around Donald's early legal trouble when the Department of Justice files a lawsuit against his father's company, Trump Management, accusing it of discriminatory practices in their rental properties. This lawsuit is based on real events from the early 1970s, where the Trumps were accused of not renting to certain groups of people in their buildings. In the film, Donald, still young and learning, seeks guidance from Roy on how to handle this case. Under Roy's direction, he adopts a defensive, combative approach, refusing to admit any wrongdoing and countersuing the Department of Justice for defamation. This is a critical moment in the film, marking Donald's entry into the high-stakes world of lawsuits, image management, and public battles. It's also a pivotal point where we see Donald evolving, adopting a more attack-first attitude, which becomes a theme throughout his career. The film portrays this lawsuit as one of the first defining battles in Donald's rise to becoming a known name in New York. The allure of Manhattan, breaking ground with the Commodore Hotel. As the dust from the lawsuit settles, Donald is undeterred and ready to make his first big move in Manhattan. He sets his sights on the Commodore Hotel, an old and struggling property near Grand Central Station. This deal becomes Donald's first major project, and it's here that he starts to take on the Manhattan elite, striving to gain the approval of high-profile financiers and city officials. The movie details Donald's meetings with bankers, city representatives, and investors, all of whom are skeptical of this young, ambitious developer trying to play with the big names. Through persistence and a knack for negotiating, Donald ultimately convinces investors to back him, and the Commodore Hotel is eventually transformed into the Grand Hyatt, a major victory for Donald and his first major accomplishment in Manhattan. This moment represents Donald's official arrival as a Manhattan developer and begins to build his reputation as a rising star in New York real estate, a taste of fame and the drive for public recognition. After the success of the Grand Hyatt, Donald becomes increasingly visible in the media, actively seeking the spotlight. The film shows how he begins to cultivate his public image, positioning himself as a daring, innovative businessman who's not afraid to take on challenging projects. He appears in interviews, at high-profile events, and even on the covers of prominent magazines, gaining more attention than most developers at the time. With fame, however, comes scrutiny. The movie shows how Donald is beginning to revel in his rising status, treating fame as a new kind of currency that fuels his ambition. This segment paints Donald as someone who is not just in it for the money, but also for the prestige and recognition. He enjoys the attention and isn't afraid to flaunt his success. Personal turmoil, the marriage to Ivana, and family life. At this stage, Donald's personal life becomes a prominent subplot, focusing on his relationship with Ivana. The film highlights their whirlwind romance, marriage, and the early days of family life. We see the two navigating the pressures of Donald's growing fame, his demanding work schedule, and the birth of their children. Ivana is portrayed as a strong and resilient partner who is equally ambitious and willing to match Donald's energy. But as Donald's focus remains on work, cracks start to show in their marriage. This part of the movie is filled with tension, showing the challenges they face as Donald's professional ambitions seem to overshadow his family life. The audience sees Donald's relationship with Ivana evolve from a supportive partnership to one strained by his relentless drive and the public attention that follows him everywhere. The turning point: cosmetic procedures and image management. With his fame growing, Donald begins to pay more attention to his physical appearance. The movie touches on this subtly but unmistakably, depicting scenes where Donald undergoes cosmetic procedures to maintain his appearance. These moments hint at a deeper layer of insecurity, or perhaps a growing awareness of the importance of image in his rise to power. For Donald, these enhancements represent a way to ensure his public image aligns with the powerful figure he wants to be. While these scenes are brief, they add an interesting dynamic, showing how Donald's awareness of his image becomes a priority as he gains more influence and visibility. Building an empire, the Trump Tower. One of the most iconic moments in the movie is the development of Trump Tower. In the film, we see Donald's grand vision come to life as he sets out to build a skyscraper that will be his legacy. The movie goes into the design process, construction challenges, and the massive scale of the project, all of which are portrayed with a sense of intensity and ambition. Trump Tower stands as a symbol of Donald's arrival as a powerful figure in New York, and the film captures how significant this project was for him personally and professionally. The tower is shown as a culmination of his hard work, resilience, and vision, marking the peak of his early real estate career. The mentor's decline and reflections on Cohn's influence. As Donald's career soars, his mentor Roy Cohn's health begins to decline. This part of the film explores the complexity of their relationship as Donald grapples with the values and strategies Roy instilled in him, while also witnessing the costs of Roy's combative lifestyle. Cohn's eventual decline and their final conversations act as a moment of reflection for Donald. He's forced to confront the consequences of always being on the offensive, learning from his mentor's life, but also realizing that he'll need to navigate his future on his own terms. Final moments and looking forward. The film wraps up by showing Donald at a crossroads, having built a name, a family, and a reputation in New York real estate. He's faced numerous challenges, achieved iconic successes, and learned hard lessons along the way. But the ending leaves an open question. What's next for Donald Trump? The movie hints at the ambition that continues to drive him, suggesting that this is only the beginning of his larger journey. And that's your recap of The Apprentice. If you enjoyed this summary and want to hear our take on the controversies, themes, and how this movie fits into today's political landscape, make sure to check out our other videos. Don't forget to subscribe to Starstruck TV for more deep dives into the stories behind Hollywood's biggest films. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.